Giannis, Antetokounmpo, one of the greatest players of the generation. In fact, I would say the greatest player of the generation. NBA champion, Finals MVP, two-time MVP, DPOY, okay, Defensive Player of the Year, ring, ring title, whatever you want to call the championship. He's the definition of a modern basketball success story, right from poverty in Greece to global superstar. In fact, I'd say he's the defining modern basketball success story, as that's not really common anymore outside of LeBron and obviously Giannis. And despite everything he's accomplished, Giannis is still one of the most disrespected superstars in NBA history, and easily today. So today, we are breaking down exactly why. One of the biggest knocks on Giannis has always been the claim that he has no skill. Okay, that is the first narrative that leads us to number one reason, the no skill narrative. Because one of the biggest knocks on Giannis is that he has no skill, it is big. We have to realize who he's from, and those are his critics. Talking heads say he's only dominates because he's tall, strong, athletic. They call him a run and dunk player, comparing him to Shaq instead of someone like Durant or Curry, which to be fair, Giannis does play way more like Shaq than KD or Steph, or he'll ever come close to those players, especially Steph. This is disrespectful because developing an unstoppable Euro step at 7 feet tall, learning how to handle the ball transition, being that type of passing wing, and being an elite defender all takes skill. Not only that, but there's also a lot of skills. Yeah, Giannis just doesn't need to possess due to his height. And I just don't really understand what people are talking about. Not only that, Giannis has developed a post-game and mid-range game as well. Just because Giannis doesn't fit the traditional mold of a smooth jump shooter doesn't mean he isn't skilled. It just means his skill set looks different. Another reason Giannis is disrespected is because of where he comes from. Before Luka and Jokic rose to stardom, Luka, Giannis, Jokic, Embiid, Shea, etc. International players often had to work twice as hard to earn respect in international American media. Giannis grew up in Greece, speaking English as a second language, and didn't have the same flashy personality as some American stars. His humility and accent made him an easy target for down criticism, even as he dominated on the court. And that was just a thing, man. I mean, we're talking about a guy who grew up in poverty, came from nothing, was very humble, and still gets disrespected. So it just proves that NBA fans, no matter how you are, if you're cocky, you get disrespected. If you're humble, you get disrespected. I mean, there's no balance. Alright, let's cut the bullshit out. You just can't win. That's why I say just don't care about what people think. Playing in Milwaukee, he doesn't have the bright lights. I mean, not only that, but Luka Jokic also rose around the time Giannis did, if not even slightly later. Giannis, and that was chapter 2, international bias. Number 2, international bias. Reason number 3, Giannis is disrespected is the market factor. Giannis also played in Milwaukee, one of the NBA's smallest markets by far. He doesn't have the bright lights of an LA or New York or even Chicago, Miami, Golden State, Boston, etc. Or even the massive media presence that they have either. Small market stars especially get less media love, and Giannis is no exception at all. No matter if he's arguably the best small market star right now, one of the greatest small market stars of all time. If he had put up the same exact numbers in the Lakers the next year, he'd probably universally be hailed as a top 20 all-time player already. Said Milwaukee's smaller state and their lack of ability to consistently build around Giannis, especially on the offensive side of basketball, keeps him underrated, especially in casual combos among fans. Number 4, the playoff failures. Giannis, I understand he's actually a solid playoff performer, but he's definitely not one of the greatest ever. And Giannis has also faced criticism for his playoff struggles. 2019, he was shut down by Kawhi and the Raptors, aka the infamous Wall Series, especially in the last 4 games where Coach Buzz' ability to coach got exposed against the Raptors. Instead of making Giannis a post player and breaking the wall and having him post up guys like Siakam or Kawhi. Yeah, they decided to let Giannis run down. Told Lopez and Drew to be shooters. Bobby was inconsistent too. I mean, that's pretty much how Milwaukee lost, and they were up too. Giannis' inabilities to make free throws, to be fair, was also part of that. 2020, the Heat exposed his weaknesses and knocked the Bucks out early. His failures stuck to him. Critics used him as proof that Giannis couldn't win the big one. People forget that almost every legend has playoff heartbreaks. MJ lost repeatedly before 1991, and LeBron was called a choker for 2012. But when Giannis fell, the media didn't just critique him. They all out fucking disrespected him. This was just not like he was a two-time MVP. Like that's how good he was at such a young age. But still, number 5, winning still isn't enough. Even though Giannis is a winner and won one title, it still isn't enough for the media, and they still have to critique his player performance. But not even that. If we're just talking about the general statement of winning isn't enough, you could argue one title isn't good enough, especially for the casual fan, because once you realize that roster construction is a big part of it, and Giannis' offensive personnel, especially at his peak from 2020 to 2022-ish, just wasn't at that level. And in 2021, Giannis silenced the critics with one of the greatest finals performances ever. 50 points in a closeout game, 17 for 19 from the free throw line. We all know 50. I think 13. I think 14 rebounds that game too. An epic, not only closeout game but series too, delivering Milwaukee's first title in 50 years. He won Finals MVP, cemented his place in history among legends like Kareem, Oscar, Moncrief, Ray Allen. You guys all know. He won Finals MVP and cemented his place in history, but yet the disrespect didn't stop. Instead of celebrating his dominance, some people shifted the goalposts, saying injuries helped him, or that he still couldn't show, even though he had an elite shooting playoff run for his standards. Even after reaching the mountaintop, Giannis didn't get the universal credit that other stars received. People moving the goalposts, and even though the injury excuse was fair, to be honest, especially in 2021 with teams like the Nets, Clippers, Lakers, etc. getting hurt, still a championship is a championship. Number 6, personality and humility. Part of why Giannis is disrespected is actually because of who he is as a person. He's humble, goofy, family-oriented, funny, does dad jokes, etc., and not interesting drama. He doesn't create headlines with controversy or chase big markets. For media outlets, that makes him less profitable to cover compared to players who stood debate. And that's exactly people don't really like it because he's kind of hard to make money off of because he's actually a good guy. So that's actually funny. The inverse of how he should be is what people want him to be just for the money, and they still wouldn't like him, you know, because they don't really like people. Just don't like you anyway. Giannis is a good example of this. Shea is a good example of this. But back to the main comment. Ironically, Giannis' best quality, his humility, sometimes keeps him from being celebrated the way he should be for no reason. And that's dumb to me too. Number 7, the all-time conversation, all-time combos. Finally, Giannis is disrespected because people hesitate to put him in the all-time conversation in those combos for no reason. Like it makes no sense to me. We're talking about, despite him being a 2-time league MVP, a DPOY, and a champion, before all and doing all of that for turning 27. Many fans still act like he isn't on the same level as LeBron, KD, or Steph, even right now. But let alone that all time, he is undoubtedly a top 20 player of all time. He's on the level of a Dirk, a Garnett, a Malone, a Barkley, a Pettit. He's on those power forward level. In fact, I'd actually argue he's the second greatest power forward ever. And all his game doesn't fit the highlight reel mold of a shooter or flashy ball handler. That's not the game. So casual fans overlook how dominant he truly is. But when you stack up the accolades and resume, advanced stats, and skill, Giannis has already been on a trajectory to be one of the greatest forwards in NBA history, and it's already the second greatest power forward in NBA history. I mean, he got time. He's only 30. Like, that's the crazy part. Giannis is still smack dab in his prime. But anyways, at the end of the day, Giannis is disrespected for reasons that often have nothing to do with basketball. And even the ones with basketball is damn near not because of his plays, because of other things outside of his control. His style of play, his international background, his small market team, his personality. But none of that changes the truth. Giannis is a generational talent, a champion, and one of the most dominant players we've ever seen. Whether the media fucking fully embraces him or not, I don't care. Legacy is already secure, and in time the disrespect will fade. The greatness will last forever. Fuck the media, they don't know ball. I love Giannis.